when we are put through these fiery trials, that purifies us and it readies us for his kingdom. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. When the battle's over, we're standing there and the enemy is defeated, because we have the power of the Most High, which flows through us and gives us the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding with his counsel and his power and strength to do it when, where, how it's needed. We don't fight against flesh and blood, but spiritual powers of wickedness, principalities, forces of evil in high places. Powerful people, led and dictated, influenced by demonic forces. This is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahweh and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. That's cunning deception. That's what wiles means. It's devious deception. See, this is the only way we're able to stand is if we have this full armor on. If we have a piece of it missing, we're going to be in trouble in the battle. Put on the whole armor, that you may stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. When the battle's over, we're standing there and the enemy is defeated, because we have the power of the Most High, which flows through us and gives us the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding with his counsel and his power and strength to do it when, where, how it's needed. So stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. Some versions say the belt of truth around our waist, around our loins, is vitally important. If we don't have a foundation of truth when we go into battle, which is every day of our lives, then we are going to be deceived, because our main premise, our roots are false. They're based on deception. So we have no firm ground to stand on, therefore. So the truth firmly is around us, holding our unchanging worldview, and that worldview is based on the Most High's word. We are anchored and grounded in the King of Truth. Heaven and earth will pass away, but his words will never pass away. So we can be absolute certain we can put our hope and trust and faith in these words, and we will never be disappointed. If you put your hope and trust in another person, sometimes you're disappointed. Sometimes you're let down because a person doesn't have that capability. But the Most High is perfect and complete in every way, and he has everything we need, and his words fully equip us if we use them and put them into practice during our life situations. Because he is the author and the finisher of our faith, unto him who is able to keep us from falling. So we hold fast what is real, and we reject falsehood, and we call it out, and we shine light on it, and we expose it so nobody else is deceived either. And that might get you some opposition, that might get you some pushback, but you know that when you receive the greatest flak is when someone is shooting up at you and you're in a plane. The flak is the explosions that go and it tries to take out the plane. When you're catching flak, you know you're over the target. There's a reason why you're being attacked, because the evil hates the truth. It cringes at the truth, because the light will expose the lies and the darkness. The New World Order, which has been planned for centuries, and it's being executed right now with this cultural Marxism, which is the destruction of the family, the destruction of morality, spirituality. What does a nation have to stand on if all those are gone? Absolutely nothing. So we walk in the light of the truth. The straight and narrow, the light of truth, it's so much easier to go with the crowd. That's without challenging anything you hear. You simply believe everything you're told, and you go along with it, and you don't argue with it because it's not popular. That's the easy way. That's the broad way to destruction, and everybody's taking it. The narrow path, the path that is hard, that's where you self-analyze yourself. You are trying to do better. Truth is your guide and your light, and you walk in that truth. And that is going to be difficult because everything around us is wicked and evil. Having on the breastplate of righteousness. The breastplate of righteousness is we only do that which is righteous and moral and with integrity. If we don't walk the right path, we stumble and fall into sin. Unto him who is able to keep us from falling. The breastplate of righteousness, our life is firmly planted and rooted in Yahweh. The breastplate of righteousness protects our heart, guarding all of our vital organs, guarding our emotions, because our emotions steer our actions and our thoughts. So we have to guard our emotions. So don't be manipulated or corrupted. Bad company corrupts good morals. So if you're around somebody who is cussing all the time and talking trash and evil and nasty stuff, that's not a person you should be influenced by, because everything you put in, everything that goes into your mind, it eventually comes out and plants seeds. So if you put in seeds of goodness, then you're going to reap a harvest of righteousness. But if you sow seeds of evil and deceit and immorality, garbage, you're going to reap a field of corruption and wickedness and turmoil, and your life is going to go to hell. Yahweh Elohim allows that to happen to put us back on the right trail. And then hopefully when we're brought low to that point, we look up and we see the light and we go back to it. See, a loving father corrects his children and puts them back on the right path if they're going off of it. And our feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, meaning we are readily available and we have a reason for the hope that we have. We are able to tell somebody that, and we have the gospel of the kingdom. So if somebody asks for what is the reason of the hope you have, we know and we can explain it and articulate it, because this faith and this hope that we have, it's real, it's true, it never fails. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. He is going to be firing darts at us, flaming arrows, and that comes at us from all directions. So our shield of faith that protects us and it keeps us through anything that happens. If we have our shield of faith, what is faith? Faith comes by hearing of the words of Elohim. The more of his words we hear, the more that goes into our every fiber of our being, and it produces a faith, which is knowing that he has our best interest at heart, and he only allows what he allows in our lives. And whatever challenge or test, I think it's Peter says, don't think of it as some strange thing, these fiery trials you are going through, because Yahweh looks at it from a different perspective. He looks at it from, he is testing our faith. Because then when we are put through these fiery trials, that purifies us and it readies us for his kingdom, because he doesn't want people that won't follow him and represent him. See, the people who he wants are the ones that enact his will and his purpose, which is perfect goodness and righteousness. Everybody on the face of this earth wants and likes those things. The evil and the corruption that has happened to people, it's a choice. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. The sword of the Spirit is the word. Now, faith comes by hearing of the words, but our sword is our ability to use that for offense. See, the shield is for defense. When we are being attacked, we can rely on his words to get us through every situation. But the sword of the Spirit is, okay, yeah, we're being attacked, but we're not going to take this lying down. We're going to draw our sword and we are going to fight back with quickness, with accuracy, cutting between soul and spirit, which his words cut right to the heart of a matter. So it ends arguments with the truth. And that's what we need to do, is we need to have our swords sharpened by knowing his words. The helmet of salvation is knowing that no matter what happens, even if we're in the most fierce battle, there's bonus points at the end of the game. We are to not just know these words, but we are to put them into practice, which means we use the entire armor of Elohim in every life's battle, and we are able to overcome. And when the battle is over and the smoke has cleared, we are standing, and there's nothing else around us because all the enemies are gone.